Hello, mortals! I am the Booktube Goddess, the #1 drag queen booktuber on YouTube, and this is a Get Ready With Me where I put on makeup before I film some videos today. And, oh, yay, we have Lynette. Thank you for joining, Lynette, as per usual. I did get a message on Twitter that Britta Bowler won't be able to make it, and I'm, of course, always thankful when someone says something to even consider this silly live stream. So, Lynette, how are you doing? I have, once again, I picked up that book for Shelve It or Shove It, and it was what was the book? Square 3 by Mira Grant, who I thought I was picking up a new author. I was like, oh, finding a new author, but no, it's a pseudonym for Shannon McGuire. And I started reading it, and then it was over. And I was like, how did I finish this so fast? And I guess it's a novella. It's only 112 pages. It just annoys me when I think I'm getting, I wish they would just somehow market it as a novella rather than surprising us. And we have Cappuccino, yay, and Kayla, thank you for coming. So maybe I should just get over it. I mean, what do you guys think? Because the book was $5, which isn't bad, but then I decided I just want a fantasy, and a lot of people have been talking about Jade City. I noticed it in my comments, and I've seen a few other videos on it. And so far it's really good, and I can talk about that in a minute, but it was $5, the exact same price as Square 3. Square 3 was 112 pages. Jade City was like 612 pages. So same price, 6 times as long. I mean, we probably shouldn't get makeup just based on the length, or price it just based on the length. I would have gotten it anyways, just I wish. I would just like to be informed if I'm getting a novella. I think she has one more pen name too. Yeah, I don't get why she even has a pen name. She is so well known as Shannon McGuire. You would think there's no marketing advantage. I mean, maybe Shannon McGuire is more fantasy and Mira Grant is more science fiction, but I mean, the writing's so similar. Hey, from Turkey, Aysel, Umit Aysel. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, but welcome. I'm talking about Square 3 by Mira Grant. It was a 112-page novella, which I thought I was getting a full novel, but see, I don't check the page count, especially for Shelve It or Shove It, because well, I know I'm going to get it, but I guess I should be doing that more. Fit to be read, yay! Thank you for joining. It's hard to get over your expectations, and you thought it was a new author. Yeah, I thought it was a new author. Yeah, I guess it's quality. But you know, if it was, since I got ebooks, but if you know if it was a hardback or paperback, there's more material needed for a 600-page novel than a 112-page novel. Oh, thank you. I'm going to call you Umit. But yeah, I just picked up Jade City. I was just saying after I read Square 3, which, by the way, was a very good novella. I just wanted a fantasy. I just wanted um, a good old fantasy. And I've heard so much about Jade City that I picked it up. And that's what I'm reading right now, probably about a third of the way through. Yeah. The things were different when I would buy physical books because I would actually go for the long books. I guess I would think I was getting more bang for my buck. Yeah. And it is listed on Amazon. It's just you have to search for it a little bit. 2-day read of Binti. Yeah, I need to read Nanetti's because I wasn't, nor was definitely a novel. Um, but I just felt it should have been shorter or not enough happened or something. Yeah, Fit. I don't even know if you read that much fantasy because when I think of you, I think of you as science fiction. Oh, yeah, I think I heard of that. In Middle Game, one of the characters, our backstory characters, was a children's writer. So then Shannon McGuire wrote that novel under that author's name, fictional author's name, which I think is kind of cool. Yeah, yeah, that's cool. Over the Woodward, yep. Very little fantasy. I watch a lot of fantasy channels, so I know Jade has gotten a lot live. Yeah, Jade is a. Can talk about that a little bit. I got to start this makeup. It's it reminds me a little bit of the Poppy Wars insofar that it has a Asian um, setting. But the one thing that annoyed me about it, or that I thought was a little frustrating, is I mean it's totally fictional. It's a fictional world, but they use enough parallels from our world that I was having trouble getting a time frame because they mentioned something called the War of Nations, which I think is supposed to parallel one of the world wars. And sort of the style and theme, I was thinking, okay, this is going to be like a film noir, something like the 40s or 50s. And then they mentioned there was a color television. So then I'm like, okay, so we're setting it like in the 70s. And then there's like copy machines and that type of thing. But there's no cell phones or internet. So we're not like in the 21st century. So I'm thinking that it's set in like a 70s era, but I kept having to adjust my picture of the setting um, for a while, for like a couple chapters at least, rather than the author um, setting it in a time period that I could recognize right away. It just took a while. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's just I would have preferred to have figured it out quicker. Um, oh, and there's no because since there is a parallel to a world war. I was expecting, or I wasn't expecting, but I was trying to figure out if there's like atomic weapons, and I don't think there is. So I think the author sort of picked and choose the type of technology, but since it's not a direct parallel to the 1960s or whatever, it takes a little bit of adjusting. Greenbone Saga got a lot of love. Is that the Jade? What are we talking about? I was just thinking the series is called Jade City. Gideon the Ninth is fantastic. And that one is sort of a genre bending novel because it could easily be either science fiction or fantasy. And actually, I think it's probably more science fiction, but really good book. 5 books this week. Wow. Oh, thank you, Kayla. But of course, I shouldn't have to look up what the author says. It should be evident by the book. Hey, Kelly. But I'm pretty sure there's no atomic weapons. Okay, so this must be Jade City. I didn't know it was called Greenbone Saga. Oh yeah, you said you liked Cyber Mage, which is what, Bangladeshi. Okay, I need to go to a color. What did I do last week? Did I do purple last week? No, I did pink. Should I do purple this week? I feel like I do purple a lot. Why don't I do red? Red, orange. We'll just go with the sunset set. Look. So it is kind of a mafia type. Well, here's I'll give you the background. This fictional Asian country was under the rule of a neighboring country. And I guess after the War of the Nations, there was the country that controlled them, I guess, was weakened to the point that allowed a rebellion. Now, in this world, the jade stone has these magical properties that only a certain bloodline or race can use. And there's actually, well, it doesn't matter. But anyway, so the rebellion consisted of these jade warriors. And afterwards, they pretty much were organized as clans, and the 2 most powerful clans had some sort of disagreement. So they sort of split the city, and they pretty much act as police or enforcers. So it is sort of like mafia. Businesses buy their protection. But in this society, I guess, police force or these clans or gangs, or I guess you could call them mafia-esque, but they're more embedded in society and they're separate from the government. So the government and these clans have sort of this symbiotic relationship. And the story is about one of the head clans. The 2 leaders of the head clans were like heroes of the rebellion. And so we flash forward, I don't know, 30 years or whatever. And the 2 clan leaders who were once friends but they kept the peace. One has died of old age, and one has retired. So it's sort of the next generation trying to get their feet under them of how they're going to peacefully control the city. And the story pretty much, it's multi-point of view chapters that are from the. It jumps around for several different POVs, but mostly it's the three grandchildren of the retired head of the clan. Okay, so what did I say? Red, yeah. So it's really interesting, really well written. And sometimes multi points of view chapters annoys me, but it doesn't in this case because because it doesn't cut the story up. It's not like in Game of Thrones where one chapter or one set of chapters is on Westeros and the other set of chapters is on another continent and totally different story. Like I said, I'm only about a third of the way through. Oh, by the way, on my YouTube channel, I've been playing around with a new look for my thumbnails, which I'm actually pretty pleased with. Every so often, I get frustrated with the non-growth of my channel that I'll like look up um, YouTube advice tutorials about how to improve your subscriber growth, and most of them talk about the thumbnails and titles. So you may notice some of my titles are going to look really strange or sound really strange as I just try some experiments. Okay. Oh, where'd I leave off? Andy survived. Oh, I think I remember you talking about that. I didn't really interpret the war in Jade City as a world war, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're wrong. And maybe they don't mention it in later books, but they definitely call it like the War of the Nations, where there was some war that involved a whole bunch of different countries. But that's separate from the rebellion. The rebellion happened after this world war. Lori! Oh, my favorite character in Jade City. I like all the grandchildren. Hilo is sort of the hot-headed warrior type, and Lan uh, is the default leader, but he's more thoughtful and considerate. Again, I'm only a third of the way through. And Shay is the sister who is sort of the more business oriented. I'm trying to think which one I like. I think I like Lan the best because he has the most complicated story. But Shay comes in close second. House of Leaves. I think people like top 10 lists. Yes, ranking videos. Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's got pretty good views for me, for my channel. If I get 100 views on a video, it's like, I'm very happy. Yeah. Yeah, those always do well. Okay, I need to move on. I'm going to move on to orange. Oh, one video I was thinking about doing today, and I'm going to continue my Critical Role videos because I just like watching Critical Role, and it's something, it's a way for me to talk about Critical Role, which I know doesn't really interest the book crowd. But I was thinking about doing, because I know I've mentioned it before, talking about like David Eddings, his personal life, because it's so wild. I know I've like mentioned him on my channel before and say, oh, you can Google it, but I don't think there's any YouTube videos on it. And I thought it might be interesting just to talk about a potentially problematic author who, by the way, has passed away. So it's not like, but it does involve child abuse. And I think YouTube may suppress those types of videos, but I think it's interesting. Okay, this is the orange next to the red, but on camera they don't. Can you differentiate the orange and the red? There's like orange and then red. Yeah, I guess you can. Gosh, on camera the red looks a little purple. Maybe all my looks are going to have some type of purple theme. Um, I hesitate to put on yellow because sometimes it doesn't show up on green screen, but if I'm going to have a sunset look, I need to put in some orange. I mean, some yellow. Maybe I'll do a purple lid. Yeah, there is a whole art to doing video titles. Okay, let me try. Now I'm just gonna, every time I try to do too many different colors, it just ends up looking muddy. So I'm just gonna keep with these three. Let's try to darken them up a little. But this red isn't really. Okay. Kayla of Books and Lala usually in the end of January does a vlog of reading some of the other Booktubers 2021. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, I wonder if she's going to do that this year. I've heard sticking to a semi-consistent. Yeah, that's good. I usually try to do it. I was like doing Thursday videos, same as Fit to Be Read. And then I was doing like Tuesdays and Thursdays. Now I'm trying to do 3 videos, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Tuesday, Thursday, some of those short videos I do. And but for a while, when I was doing the Game of Thrones videos, those are usually best released as soon or as quickly as you can. So I was like bunching up my videos at the start of the week. But I'm going to try to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Your all-time stats, your percentage of sci-fi has been increasing. Yay. I think it's, oh, who's that guy? The older guy. I think he used to own a bookstore. But he was like I don't know if he does it anymore, but for a while it was like he was doing daily videos. And he seems to be very prolific. Sci-fi is your most read genre. Mine is fantasy. Yeah, I loved her experiment with thumbnails. I remember reading that. Actually, I changed my thumbnails for a while because of that, but I don't think I did it right. Books like Whoa, Ashley, and Bethany are up there. Yeah. Yeah, Ashley, again, because she's a librarian, but yeah, she's a very prolific reader. I wouldn't say she's a prolific YouTuber. I think she's like once or twice a week. Want to read at least 2 books from your 6 favorite authors, at least 2 YA this year, and a handful of indie reads. Michael Vaughn's thumbnails. Someone had even more than them. A lot more manga. Oh, manga and short reads. I just read Bethany Was High. I was like, oh, was she? But high in number of books. go with your mood. Binti and Snow Crash. It's been a while since I read Snow Crash. Yeah. Actually, Fit, you've really done well on not choosing, but on focusing your channel just on science fiction. The best or the most successful YouTube channels really are the ones that really hyper focus on a narrow subject. Like if you look at some of those channels that just do Game of Thrones, it's pretty wild how well they do. And of course, some channels just focus on Lord of the Rings or whatever. How do my eyes look? Do you get the sunset? I'm feeling it needs more orange. There's like a lot of yellow going on. I think I may cut my crease just with purple. Okay, let's go back to black. Oh, for those who are into drag, there is a new season of Drag Race. It's just crazy how much Drag Race there is. Especially if you watch the other countries. But I never thought I would get too tired of Drag Race, but it's just so much of it. Oh, and I did see Fit. I think you were talking about it. Queen of the Universe, which is a live singing competition for drag queens. And personally, totally my opinion, I think the wrong person won on that one. It was amazing listening to some of the voices of these singers. Okay, so what do you think? Purple on the cut crease? Okay, let's catch up. Yeah, that's my goal too, actually, Lori. Did I like Snow Crash? Yes, I did read it, but I was kind of a snob back then because I'm like, well, that's not William Gibson. Because I don't know if you remember, but when Neil Stevenson, Snow Crash is his debut, right? Because I remember people talking about it's like, oh, this is a new William Gibson. I read it, it's like, oh, this is okay, but he's no William Gibson. Binti, I've heard. I'm gonna have to read Binti. There's another guy who does sci-fi only is Moyd. I really want to read Snow Crash. That would be on my short list, but I've always read Stevenson. Maybe I should prioritize Egan. Oh, thanks, Lori. Media Death Cult. Oh, okay. I'll have to check that channel out. Oh, Binti is another magical chosen one. Oh, science fiction. Of course, you could have chosen ones in science fiction novels. Look at Star Wars. Cap, you always like purple. I know I can count on you. Get more substantial reads in March. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Kayla. I'm talking about Steve Donahue. Yeah. He was the most prolific booktuber, I think, for that I knew that was consistently. But I actually don't know his if he actually reads as prolifically as he um, does videos, but I assume he does. And I believe he used to own a bookstore and would keep up his reading to recommend books to customers. Let's talk among yourselves as I just try to focus on doing this cut crease. Okay. Okay. Two hands. Oop. I'll clean that up in a minute. Okay, cut the crease. Whew. And let me try to set it with some white. Oh, Fed, have you been watching the Amazon Expanse series? This is apparently the last season, which is kind of sad because they're not like, I thought they were going to do a season a book, but I actually understand why they do some of the things they're doing, because if you read the books, there is a core group of characters that the Rocinante characters that you follow, but there's every book is almost like a whole different storyline with new characters, new plots. And for the TV series, I'm sure they wanted some type of consistent plot. Like they didn't want to get rid of favorite characters that maybe they got rid of in the books, that type of thing. But it reminds me that I'm not a book purist when it comes to adaptations. Because I was thinking of that when I was doing my Wheel of Time reviews. It's like, am I being too picky? Am I too much of a purist? But if the story is good, the story is good. And the storytelling, in my opinion, in the Expanse Amazon series is so much better than Wheel of Time. I mean, the writing is better, the pacing's better, I mean, they'll do things like they know how to develop relationships between characters. And I mean, there's one scene last week or last episode, or maybe it was the second episode, where there's two people just sitting at a dining table and they're just looking at each other, and one's using a lot of salt, and then the other guy says, "Oh, you're using a lot of salt," and she says, "Yeah, I like a lot of salt." I mean, it's just like these little tiny insignificant moments that can develop, that tells you a lot of the characters' relationships, even though, they're not doing some big dramatic scene. They're just small little moments that just didn't exist, in my opinion, in the Wheel of Time. They tried to do it one time where the male Two Rivers characters were, I forget what they were doing. They were like playing cards or something, but it didn't last long enough and it seemed a little awkward. Okay, Steve Donahue, prolific posting. Oh, you think Nanetti is sci-fi fantasy? I'm trying to think of Noor. Noor dealt a lot with biological, like it's a biological side of science fiction, and there wasn't much detail, and I could see how that could be kind of magical-esque. I mean, but a lot of science fiction does that. They don't really develop the science part of science fiction. Kayla says, I think a cool video idea for you would be to look at some of the top original booktubers to see how their content. I tried to do that. I haven't done one in a while, but I've done like when I review like other people's channels. Yeah, but I need to do another one of those. But yeah, I do like looking at the top booktubers and seeing how their channels have changed. I would like some donuts. Yeah, there's a lot of YA. And I actually found myself reading more YA because of BookTube, which probably may have been a mistake, because it would make my channel seem more like every other channel. Like The Goddess, yay, Britta, supposedly fun, Jess Owens, and a few others. Yeah, Lori, were you the one that told me to check out Jess Owens' Wheel of Time Amazon series review? Because I pretty much agreed with most of what she said. Yeah, I like Ed Lorne, or Edward Lorne, but he has really been focused on his Stephen King reviews. He's like going through now and reviewing all the Stephen King books that he skipped. It wasn't supposed to be. In fact, when Amazon did Wheel of Time, they specifically aged up the characters so they wouldn't be YA age range. And they also put in some specific, not specific, but some sex scenes that were probably not in the books, just to age it up. And by the way, there's no sex scenes in The Expanse that I can think of. Maybe there are. It's a long series, but I can understand why you said that, though. Because even though they did lip service to trying to age up the Wheel of Time, they fell back on a lot of like YA tropes, and they really tried to focus on like these romances between characters that made it feel more YA than the books or the series was meant to be. Literary diversions. I don't know if I've checked out literary diversions. I like your videos where you look at booktubers. I think you did Jesse the Reader. It was a booktuber here from the start. Oh, Ariel Bissett. I haven't looked at her in a while, but yeah, she'd be a good one. Okay, so if I want to do purple, I need to find a light purple. Then I'll do some purple glitter or something. Then I'll go darker purple on the outer part. Of course, if I'm going to do glitter, it might not even matter what shades, but yeah, one of the booktubers I wanted to react to was Elias. I've been meaning to do him for a while too. Because there aren't that many male Asian booktubers that I know of. And he seems to be quite popular. I mean, he's not crazy popular, but he has a big channel. Where Booktube is concerned, okay, so that's purple with the orange. And I have these, what do you call them? Got from Etsy. They're called eyeshadow flakes. So I'm going to try this out. But it does need primer. Oh wow, Caleb, since 2012. I didn't know about Booktube for like until maybe 3 years ago. Yeah, me too, Cap. Lori is new to Booktube. I don't normally watch much Daniel Green, but I did like the videos in which he roasted people's bookshelves. Yeah, mine were a wreck. I think I roasted my own bookshelf at some point. Videos people are doing about what is lurking on my Kindle. I have to look those up. I don't remember those. To send him a photo, he would probably have a stroke. Okay. So I'm putting on this glitter primer glue stuff. Get a little quiet here. Stuff is fluffy. Oh man. If you think loose glitter gets all over the place, this stuff flies all over the place. What do you think? Well, there's no turning back now. Trouble of being right-handed. Okay, well, these are, what do they call them? Eyeshadow flakes. I'm actually, I feel like it's all over the place. Excuse the fan, but I need to. So these are the I think it must be hard to think of new booktube ideas. Yeah. Mexican. I've heard so much about Mexican Gothic, and I have not read that. Currently, I'm reading Jade City. Just finished reading Square 3. But I'm probably going to continue the Jade City trilogy. I mean, again, I'm just a third of the way through the first book. But if it's going to continue if I'm going to enjoy it as much as I have been throughout the rest of the books, I can see myself just for the rest of the month, or maybe into part of next month, just reading this series. And I love finding a complete series that I don't have to wait for. Don't have to wait for the books to be published. Kayla has very creative ideas. Start these violent delights. Is Jade Legacy the same as Jade City? I read Bridget Crack, which is, oh, Lynette, you read such interesting books. Historical novel set in Van Diemen's Land, Tasmania. I love Kaylee's new video series about trying new hobbies while listening to audiobooks. Started with painting. That's up your alley, Cappuccino. Oh, Jack London. Now, he's not for everyone, but definitely a classic author. From a familiar local city. That's why, and I know I've mentioned this a couple times on some book tag videos, but it's one of the reasons why I liked Tales from the City so much. Because I did read it when I lived in San Francisco. And it is fun reading books in a place you're familiar with. I think whether that's science fiction, that's science fiction. I think that's whether it's fiction or nonfiction. Okay, I need to get on with it. Where did I put my eyeliner? Here we go. That's only been an hour. Sometimes when I do this, I feel like, oh gosh, I've been here for 3 hours. But Didn't mean to leave that on. Oh, another good San Francisco book is Vampire Lestat. I give The Red Plague by Jack London on my TBR. I think it is one of the few Jack London books I have not read. Oh, I love Dune. I agree with you, Umit. Plague by J.L. Who's J.L.? Jack London? Duh. Right now I'm reading Jane Eyre and The Wide Sargasso Sea kind of together because the second book is a response to Jane Eyre and giving a certain side character a full story and a voice. That is cool. Okay, Jade Legacy is the final book in the Green Bone. Got it. Well, I looked up Jade City, which because it was the same price as Square 3, and that's 600 and something pages. So I guess all the books are long. Oh, how is that, Cap? Lindsay Ellis's second book. Sci-Fi is your audiobook. Love First Contact. I think my favorite First Contact is, I want to say something by David Brin, but I don't know if it's First Contact. Oh, there's a Larry Niven, Jerry Pournelle novel, Moat in God's Eye, that's really, really good. I enjoyed it anyway. Okay. Let's move on. To gel liner. I don't know about these glitter flakes. I don't know if this actually makes my eyes look crusty or if it looks cool. Yes, I'm painting my lashes with gel liner because I don't like mascara. Okay. Well, that's really turning all the way around. Okay. So I think I need another. Or I had a small. Gosh, I go through so many brushes when I do this. I think this brush is too big. Almost done. The eyes, anyway. Okay, I think I am done. Actually, I may brighten up the eyes just a little bit with some light. Okay. And let's put on more blush. If you're new here, sorry for these long periods of time where I don't say anything and I'm just focusing on putting on makeup. And I'm trying to do the white highlight. Actually, just to try to put a little bit of white under the eyes. I don't know if that did anything. I was hoping it would hide the bags under my eyes, but I think I'm going to call this the eyes. Well, okay. Let me add a little bit. By the way, this is my Hunger Games highlighter. Okay, I think I'm going to move on to the lips and start wrapping up. Let's catch up. It kind of turned it off, yeah. Hey, Stig! So glad you dropped by. Probably gone by now. I'm a freak. I actually enjoyed reading books in school. Axioms and Truth of Divine have very non-humanoid aliens, and it feels like Lindsay really thought about and planned their physicality. Oh, Fire Upon the Deep, Werder Vinge. It's another great first contact novel, because those aliens were fantastic. Lord of the Flies. Now, I didn't really keep up with it, but I know Lindsay Ellis was like, had a lot of drama around her name because what did she do? Something about some Disney movie, that Asian Disney movie, the name I forget. She said something it's like, oh, Asian movies need to, I forget what she said, but people seem to overreact, in my opinion, from what little I could tell. Yeah. I know people gave up reading books as soon as they left school. Me too. Yeah, the studies show that girls read more than, or like to read more than boys. My dad was a non-reader. Your mom was a prolific reader. Yeah, my father was the prolific reader in the house at the time. Okay, lips. He really didn't read much science fiction. I don't think he read any fantasy. Once in a while, he'll read science fiction. Mostly, it was sort of that mystery thriller type genre. That's where I've read when I did read mysteries was out of his collection of like Nero Wolfe and Johnny Rex Stout's. He's the author of Nero Wolfe and Johnny McDonald's Travis McGee books. So I also read Mrs. Polifax. I can't for the life of me do even lips. What went on? Okay. So lip color. Let's go with dark red since we did the sunset. Okay. Maybe just a little bit of white, just a little. Okay, I think I'm going to just call this a look. Oh, eyelashes. Jeez. Actually, I need to. It's always something. Oops. Oh, shoot. One of my eyelashes just went fluttering to the floor. Hold on. Oh my gosh, am I blind? Oh, here it is. Make sure it's not too covered in cat hair. Okay, I'm going to go back to the duo. Yeah, tonight I think my husband and I are going to be watching the Cobra Kai series on Netflix, the new one that's out. That's so nostalgic for me because I was a big Karate Kid fan when I was growing up. I mean, not only wasn't there much Japanese representation at the time, not that there is more now, but the original Karate Kid movie did go over some of the history of Japanese Americans in the relocation camps and that type of thing. The series, however, doesn't even have a Japanese character, but it still brings back the memories from watching it in the 70s, 80s. And I think Ralph Macchio still looks good. I mean, I don't know if we're the same age. I may be a little older than him, but he's always been a very youthful looking person. Because like when he was in the Karate Kid playing a teenager, a 16, 17-year-old boy, he was actually much older. Of course, the funniest example of that was, what was that show? 90210. The kids show, not kids show, but teen show in the 90s, where the actors were like, one of the actors was like in her 30s. I think she lied about her age to get on the show, but why don't I put on some earrings? Yeah, I like these earrings, but I don't wear them much when I make videos because you can actually hear them. I don't know if you can hear them. I don't tend to like modern comedy drama. The only classic comedy writing I love was Wodehouse. I love P.G. Wodehouse. And comedy writing. You should give Patrick Dennis a try. He's wrote Anti-Mame, and he wrote a couple other novels. Paradise. I don't know. I was on a Patrick Dennis kick for a while. Modern comedy. Who wrote Still Life with Woodpecker? Robbins? Of course. He may be considered a classic writer by now, but 80s, 90s, maybe. Yeah, I don't read much comedy since I mostly do speculative fiction. There's Robert Asprin's Myth series, and of course, Terry Pratchett, Hitchhiker's Guide, Douglas Adams, comedy. Yeah. And comedy is so specific. Yes, love N.K. Jemisin. Robin Hobb is maybe one of my favorite fantasy writers ever. Yeah. She started in fantasy, the Thousand Kingdoms. Is that it? Which I loved. Hey, Psycho Space Cadet. Didn't see you. Yes, love Clark and Asimov. Both classics. Plot on Sleepless Giant. I haven't heard of that. It sounds like a classic sci-fi title. Science fiction, modern science fiction. Like I said, love Fire Upon the Deep by Werner Vinge. By the way, if you want to go back a few decades, his wife, Joan Vinge, Snow Queen and Summer Queen. It's a duology. Really good. See, I think I need to put on these eyelashes. If you haven't read David Brin's Uplift War, I think more people should consider that a science fiction classic if they don't already. And I hate calling something classic that I read when it was released. It's like, yes, I'm one of those people that saw Star Wars when it was released in the theaters in, what was it, 77? So I cringe when I hear people say, oh, that Star Wars is a classic science fiction movie. And I keep thinking, no, it's not. It's not classic. I've been talking about The Expanse as an excellent science fiction series. And it's out, so you don't have to like wait for the next book to be published. Oh, I need a wig. Let me try this lace front. Of course, I'm not going to glue it down, but Okay. Also talking about science fiction, Larry Niven and Jerry Pournelle's Road to God's Eye. That's a great first contact book. But of course, Larry Niven's classic Ringworld is a must read. But he's still publishing them because I've read several of his Ringworld not Ringworld Engineer, sorry, Puppeteer novels, which is a fantastic race. A race evolved from like ostrich type, they're not ostriches, but really cowardly type beings that was a type of creature that would stick their head in the sand. Okay, anyway, how does this look? Do you like the these purple flakes? Oops, let me come down. Oh, Cappuccino loves Snow Queen. Oh, top 5 books of 2021. Love that. Plot on Sleepless Giant is about the elephant at the center of the earth who turns the world. Oh, interesting. Hey, Yvonne, thank you. Thank you, Psycho. Very sparkly. Okay, good. It's going for sparkly. Okay, guys. Well, I have some videos to film. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and talking about books and whatever. And like I said, I think I'm going to do a video about David Eddings, which will probably get me canceled, but we'll see how that goes. And not canceled, but banned by YouTube, or that video might not promoted. And of course, I want to do a Critical Role, and I do want to do a book review of Square 3, where I can complain about novellas being sold as novels. Okay, guys, thank you so much. You have a great rest of the week. And as usual, may all the books you read be blessed. So hopefully see you next week.